Now, after races at Silverstone and Monza, FIA Formula 3 is looking very good this year. I'm with the Deputy Editor of Autosport and the acknowledged world guru of the FIA single-seater series. Now, Marcus, Monaco's just around the corner for Formula 1, but you've got a different sort of Monaco, but not that different in the world of Formula 3 coming up. I know you're looking forward to Pau very much.
Yeah, exactly. Pau is Monaco without the pretense, really. Good old-fashioned racing circuit.
Good old Marcus. I knew you'd be straight there for the jugular. Excellent. You're very excited about Formula 3 this year, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. There's no question we had the best year in a long time in 2014, where Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen got to Formula 1 from that crop. We also had people like Tom Blomqvist, Antonio Giovinazzi, Lucas Auer, who's now leading the DTM after the opening round. Some really, really
Gerhard
top talent.
Berger's nephew.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
And of course, what makes Pau so attractive is it's such a difficult place if you haven't been there before, and a lot of them haven't. And beyond that, it's all about qualifying and then the start. And Lando Norris is very quick, we know that, and he's one of the drivers that we're all talking about. But his starts haven't been great this year. They
haven't. He's got off the hook slightly by having Monza as one of the early rounds of the championship, where in Formula 3 there's a lot of slipstreaming goes on, and he's been able to fight his way up the order and actually win one of the races there, finished second in the other two. Silverstone, the opening round, the first race, which was his other win so far this year, was a rolling start because of tricky conditions. So we didn't really find out about his start problems until the second and third races.
Poor guy, I've been probably sitting there thinking, I've just made a couple of bad starts. It isn't going to be a big thing, but it does. It's a bit like putting in golf. You get the yips and it does start to become. Mark Webber had this issue with starts, didn't he? But how good is Lando, do you think, if you put him up there with what you've seen over the years?
I think he's definitely Formula 1 material. He's come into Formula 3. He's one of the three drivers fighting for the championship after the opening two rounds, and the other two are Callum Eilert and Joel Eriksson, who's Swedish and is actually leading the championship. And to come in and do that straight away has been really impressive.
And we've got some other great names. I mean, Mick Schumacher did well at Monza. First time we've really seen him go well this year, but it's only two races so far. But how good is Mick?
He's racing really well so far. His problem at the moment, which he's admitted, is qualifying. That's something that all rookies go through, apart from Lando Norris in Formula 3. Yeah. It's something that traditionally rookies go through. He got a mega slipstream in the second qualifying session at Monza, which enabled him to start third on the grid.
Jake Hughes hasn't had a great start.
No, it's well, the whole high-tech team haven't had a great start this season. I think it's probably fair to say that Jake is leading that team as a driver.
Strange to hear, high-tech so good in so many areas, and we've seen that, and the amount of money they spend on racing and the way they go about it and their attention to detail. But beyond that, just talk us through the difficulties of getting that little window on a Formula 3 car.
The window moves over the course of the weekend, and with track conditions, what other cars have been out on the track and laying down rubber in the meantime. And what we have to remember is that High-Tech were a team that were only born in 2015 and only came into the series at the end of that year. And they recruited a lot of really, really highly rated engineers. But it's not just a question of recruiting the top people, you've got to get everybody working together. And maybe that's something that they're just playing a little bit of catch-up on the other teams.
It'll be interesting to see that developing over the course of the season. You've got a trip, and apart from Pau, you've got another trip coming up as well, which I know you're very excited about.
Yeah, Okayama for my first trip to Japan for the Super Formula Championship, which I'm really looking forward to.
And with some great drivers in that as well. We've talked about that a little bit on the show already.
But there are. I've always been fascinated by the Japanese stars who stay at home, and we don't really see much in Europe. And there's no question that they're very talented. And as well as that, a lot of the guys I've been following recently in Europe, like Nick Cassidy and Pierre Gasly and Felix Rosenqvist and Jan Mardenborough as well, they're all rookies in that championship this year. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with them and seeing how they're getting on.
Kazuki Nakajima won first time out at Suzuka this year. And as you say, very difficult for these Europeans to come over and match the combinations that are together already in those Japanese teams with the Japanese drivers. It all started with Hoshino back in the 76 or 77 Japanese Grand Prix, and the Europeans came over and were just blown away by how quick he was, and why isn't this guy racing regularly in Formula One?